Hello and welcome back to UAE TV. Please like and subscribe to channel to get further videos directly in your inbox.
In Japan, a, quote, large number of US Marines stationed in Okinawa have tested positive for the coronavirus. According to officials, the base not releasing details on the number of Marines infected, citing operational security. Japanese officials are giving numbers, though. Kaori and Joji joins us now from Tokyo. There's long been an uneasy relationship between the US military and some of the people on Okinawa. I guess this isn't helping.
Absolutely, Michael. There is growing anger and deep concern after a total of 62 cases were confirmed among U.S. military personnel and their families at 3 different U.S. military facilities last week. And this is putting the truce between the Japanese island of Okinawa and the U.S. military station there to the test. Yet again, the truce has been tested time and time again when there are accidents or crimes, and this time it's being tested by a pandemic. It took days for the U.S. military to confirm the number on Saturday, and they say these cases were counted over a period of 5 days last week. The governor of Okinawa said he was shocked because Okinawa has been virus-free or no new cases of COVID-19 in Okinawa for 2 months now. And then the governor says he saw U.S. military personnel partying, and he wants more information about these COVID-19 cases because they want to do better contact tracing. Listening to the governor's comments using words like very regrettable, it's clear that he walks a very fine tightrope between balancing the security interests of Japan, because Washington is the bedrock of Japan's security policy, and ensuring the health of his constituents. Residents tell me that this time around this time in Okinawa, it's pretty busy because a lot of U.S. military personnel like to move their families in and out of the island at time to when the schools start in the U.S. around September. So given the explosive number of cases that we're seeing on the mainland, the worry is mounting among residents of Okinawa, Michael.
CNN United States military personnel on the Japanese island of Okinawa are on virtual lockdown after almost 100 cases of coronavirus have emerged on several U.S. Marine Corps bases there. The lockdown order, which was issued Saturday morning, bans almost all off-base movement by the tens of thousands of U.S. military personnel on the bases unless approved by an officer with the rank of lieutenant colonel or above. The order includes the vital Kadena Air Base, which bills itself the hub of U.S. air power in the Pacific, and comes after U.S. admirals last week touted the extraordinary measures the Navy had taken to restore U.S. military readiness in the region in the face of the worsening pandemic. The Okinawa prefectural governor's office said 94 cases of COVID-19 have been diagnosed among the personnel at the U.S. Marines Corps Air Station Futenma, Camp Hansen and Camp Kinza as of Monday afternoon. Major Kenneth Kunz, Communications Strategy and Operations Officer for the U.S. Marines in Okinawa, confirmed the numbers provided to the Okinawa government were accurate and said contact tracing was underway on the island to see if there were any more cases. Hundreds of Marines and their family members were being tested, he said. A statement from U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Joe Carey, the commander of Kadena Air Base, on Friday said multiple new positive cases had emerged on U.S. military facilities on the island as well as 3 cases among the local population. The U.S. cases have primarily been Marines assigned to MCAS Futenma and Camp Hansen, and have been a mix of both travel-related and those with origins we've yet to be able to identify, indicating the potential of a re-emergence of community spread, Carey's statement posted on the base's website said. Kunz said any travel-related cases would have come through Kadena on a flight from Seattle, which also stops at U.S. military bases in Yokota and Iwakuni, Japan. But as of Monday afternoon Japan time, no COVID-19 cases had been reported on Kadena. The recent infections of Marine personnel are the first the service has seen on Okinawa since the outbreak of the virus earlier this year. U.S. Marine Corps bases were put under Health Protection Condition Charlie, which, according to a Marine website, bans any off-base activity except traveling to and from the bases to residences. Any other travel requires the approval of a senior officer. U.S. Marine personnel and their families, including U.S. civilian contractors, are not permitted to visit any off-base establishments, use public transportation, or even exercise outdoors, under Condition Charlie. Personnel may also not take any leave or vacation time. The Kadena Air Base Facebook page said it also was under health protection condition Charlie, but the Air Force restrictions were slightly less stringent than those issued by the Marines, allowing visits to off-base grocery stores, pharmacies and food drive-thrus. Despite the restrictions, Okinawa government officials expressed frustration with the U.S. forces. In a statement, Prefectural Governor Denny Tamaki said the U.S. should not be allowing troops to come to Okinawa from bases in the U.S. and elsewhere during the pandemic. The governor's office said U.S. military personnel arriving on the island were being housed in hotels in the Chatham district of the island, near Kadena Air Base because on-base facilities were filled with U.S. personnel in COVID-19 isolation. Kinza said Monday that all COVID-19 cases were in isolation in U.S. Marine barracks on the island. Additionally, all Marines, their family members and U.S. civilian workers arriving on the island face 16 days in quarantine, he said. Tamaki told public broadcaster NHK News that the surge in U.S. cases comes after the island had done well preventing coronavirus cases. I am shocked. It is extremely regrettable that a large number of cases are occurring in a short period of time at a time when all Okinawans are trying so hard to prevent the infection from spreading, he said. Okinawa had 0 new cases between May 1 and July 7. Total number as of July 10 is 145 infections, which includes 7 deaths. NHK reported Saturday that 3 visitors to Okinawa from the Tokyo area had tested positive for COVID-19 since last Thursday. The Japanese capital and the country as a whole have seen surging cases of COVID-19 for the past week. On Sunday, 411 new cases were reported across the country, 206 of those in Tokyo, the 4th day in a row it had seen more than 200 new cases. The new cases among U.S. military members come as the virus is also spreading rapidly in the United States. More than half of the country's 50 states are dealing with increased rates of new cases compared to a week ago. One state, Florida, reported 15,299 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday, the highest number of new cases in a single day by any state since the coronavirus pandemic began. But in the Pacific, the U.S. military has said it has been successful in combating the virus, which left the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt crippled for weeks in the spring when the virus struck more than 1,000 members of its crew. Last week, however, 2 of its sister ships, the USS Ronald Reagan and USS Nimitz, completed rare dual-carrier exercises in the South China Sea. The admirals in charge of those exercises said the Navy had gone to extraordinary measure to achieve a high level of readiness. The entire team underway, everyone on board, is required to wear a mask, Rear Admiral George Wickoff, commander of the Reagan Carrier Task Force, said of the 12,000 personnel in the exercises. The Navy has also spaced out mealtimes, instituted social distancing and brought aboard specialists including microbiologists and extra health personnel, said Wickoff. But a worsening COVID-19 situation on Okinawa could set back U.S. efforts in the Pacific. Kadena bills itself keystone of the Pacific. Almost 18,000 Americans work on the base, which hosts U.S. Air Force fighter jets, U.S. Navy reconnaissance planes, and it's a major hub for U.S. aircraft movement throughout the region, including frequent operations over the South China Sea. Meanwhile, Monday, U.S. Forces Korea reported Monday that 11 U.S. service members arriving in South Korea had tested positive for COVID-19. All personnel entering South Korea are tested and quarantined for 14 days, USFK said in a tweet. Independent news. Japan furious after dozens of U.S. Marines stationed in country diagnosed with coronavirus in massive outbreak. We have strong doubts the American military has taken adequate disease prevention measures, local governor says after more than 60 troops at 2 bases test positive for COVID-19. Dozens of U.S. Marines stationed at 2 military bases in Japan have been diagnosed with coronavirus in a massive outbreak that has caused fury among local officials. More than 60 of the specialist troops located on the southern island of Okinawa have become infected since 7 July, reports say. The 2 bases, Marine Corps Air Station Futenma and Camp Hansen, have now been placed into lockdown. But the outbreak has sparked considerable anger in Japan, which, despite having an elderly population and tightly packed cities, has so far managed to largely contain the infection. In an unusual rebuke, the island's governor Denny Tamaki said, "Okinawans are shocked by what we were told. We now have strong doubts that the U.S. military has taken adequate disease prevention measures." And he added, "It is extremely regrettable that the infections are rapidly spreading among U.S. personnel when we Okinawans are doing our utmost to contain the infections." Concerns have been particularly raised because several American personnel arriving in Japan had stayed at an off-base hotel before being transferred to the two camps last week. The Marine said in a statement on Friday that troops were now taking additional protective measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus and were restricting off-base activities. It said systems had been put in place to protect our forces, our families, and the local community, although it failed to say exactly what those systems were or the exact extent of the virus at the bases. Okinawa is home to more than half of about 50,000 American troops in Japan under a bilateral security pact. Residents there have long complained about pollution, noise and crime arising from the camps. Excluding the American outbreak, Okinawa has had just 150 cases of the coronavirus in total.
Thanks for watching Universal Information and Entertainment TV. Please like and subscribe our channel for more updated videos, news, information and entertainment. See you in next video. Stay tuned.